remote control exists because standing up became optional. Before remote controls, machines demanded presence. Radios, televisions, stereos, fans, and projectors were designed to be approached. If you wanted to change something, you moved your body toward the device. That movement created friction. It slowed decision-making. It made changes deliberate. Early devices reflected this assumption. Controls were large, tactile, and visible. Dials resisted turning. Switches clicked loudly. Interaction felt mechanical because it was meant to be noticed. You were aware that you were intervening. As machines entered living rooms and bedrooms, that friction began to feel unnecessary. Entertainment became longer. Comfort mattered more. The question quietly emerged: why should control require movement at all? The remote control answered by separating action from location. Instead of approaching the machine responded from a distance. This required a new kind of design. Signals had to travel invisibly. Commands had to be simple. Feedback had to be delayed just enough to feel responsive without demanding attention. Early remotes were limited. They controlled only a few functions because complexity increased error. Each additional command risked confusion, misfires, or accidental activation. Designers learned quickly that people don't want options. They want shortcuts. This is why remotes prioritize a small set of actions: power, volume, channel, or track change. These controls are placed where the thumb naturally rests. Less used buttons are smaller, harder to reach, or visually minimized. The remote quietly teaches behavior through layout. The shape of the remote reinforces this lesson. It is narrow, balanced, and directional. One end points forward, the other fits into the palm. This orientation matters because remotes rely on intention more than accuracy. You don't aim carefully, you gesture. The device assumes rough alignment is good enough. This tolerance reflects human behavior. People multitask, they look away, they press buttons without checking. The remote forgives imprecision because punishing it would defeat the purpose. Distance also changes psychology. When control is immediate, changes are frequent. Volume nudges upward. Channels flip rapidly. Content is abandoned quickly. The remote doesn't create impatience, but it enables it. Friction once acted as a pause. The remote removes that pause. This is why remotes multiply functions over time. As devices gained features, the remote became cluttered. Buttons accumulated not because users wanted them, but because manufacturers needed access points. The result is a familiar paradox. A tool designed for simplicity becomes visually complex. Yet despite that complexity, most people use only a fraction of the buttons. This is not a failure of design. It's an acknowledgement of reality. The remote expects partial engagement. It knows most of its surface will be ignored. Material choices reinforce disposability. Lightweight plastic, rubberized buttons, battery compartments designed for replacement, not repair. The remote is not meant to last forever. It is meant to be replaceable because control itself is transient. Human behavior again shapes this outcome. Remotes are dropped, lost, spilled on, sat on, and forgotten between cushions. They are designed to survive mild abuse, but not reverence. A remote that demanded care would be rejected. As systems evolved, remotes became less physical. Phones replaced them. Voice commands replaced buttons, but the underlying logic remained unchanged. Control still travels farther than the body. Authority still arrives without effort. The aha moment comes when you realize the remote control is not about convenience. It is about reducing commitment. When changing something requires no movement, no preparation, and no cost, you are encouraged to intervene constantly. This reshapes behavior beyond entertainment. Attention fragments, choices accelerate, satisfaction becomes temporary. The remote didn't invent these tendencies, but it made them frictionless. And yet, the remote succeeds because it aligns with how people actually live. They want control without ceremony. They want adjustment without disruption. The remote delivers that quietly. Invisible design often works by removing resistance rather than adding capability. The remote control does exactly that. It takes effort out of the equation and lets preference act immediately. Once effort disappears, behavior changes, and the object that caused the change fades into the background, resting quietly in the hand, asking nothing, while reshaping everything around it.